Hello everyone and welcome back to another instalment of our Portuguese barn conversion series.
It's another beautiful day here in Portugal, and on this video we're going to tackle the pointing, something I know a lot of you guys have been really interested in and asking us constantly when we're going to do it, and right now.
I'm actually really excited as well to see the pointing get done because it is going to totally transform the stonework. It'll make it look really nice. I mean, it already looks nice, but it'll look even nicer. We're the indie project Bea and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cats Gingy Bear and Fernando. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home. Before we get started with today's video, we've got a very exciting announcement to share with you.
You guys might remember a couple of weeks ago we asked you on a live stream to fill out a survey of where you'd like to travel with us, and we're going to Iceland and you guys are invited.
We're so excited, and it's going to be in February 2022. There's a whole load of more information in the description. I'll put the link in there, but I'd just like to say the first 8 tickets are early bird prices, and there's a max of 13 people who can come with us.
We can't wait to travel with you guys. The itinerary we have for Iceland is amazing. I cannot wait to get there and to meet you guys, so make sure you sign up and we'll see you there.
Check out these gorgeous crates that we just picked up. Aren't they wonderful?
They're so nice. We picked up 17 of these crates.
We only went for 10 as well.
We only went for 10. We picked up a load more because they're so affordable. In the UK, things like this that look really rustic and nice. So look at this. It's got beautiful text on the side. They look so authentic because they're real world crates. What did the woman say they were used for?
Peaches.
So they were used for peaches, and apparently an old guy, 70-year-old in the village, made all these crates. And they're just wonderful. They're so rustic looking, and they're so lovely to go in the barn. And we're thinking we're probably going to use them for like bedside table,
cupboards,
in the kitchen. I just think they'd be really nice, and it only cost us €2 each.
€2?
That's mental. In the UK, one of these would set you back probably £15 to £20, which
totally
works.
true, because we used to go to a lot of reclamation yards and they would have these there, and you would not be picking up one of these for €2. No way.
What's that?
Not
Probably
£2.
like that's probably like $25.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. But €2, like, you can't argue with that, can you?
we love them. I can't see him, it's too dark. Baby, how did you get there? Work of art! The artist.
It's really cool what you can do with these. There's so many different options. And I've just become aware that I've got a hole in my crotch. So as well as having my knee sticking out,
Oh, Theo, you're letting the side down.
you might have something else sticking out if we're not careful.
Oh,
So
wow.
I need to sew that. I need to sew that up, or buy some new trousers very soon.
I'm going to order you some new trousers.
I really hope the shop's open soon. It's not a good
I
situation
mean, look at
to
you,
be.
just an absolute state. Show them the sole of your shoe.
So this is my shoes,
Gosh.
and then
Oh, look at that.
that's my foot right there. and
He's
I can
got
feel
stupidly
stones.
big feet, so it's quite hard to find shoes here in Portugal. So we need to order some, don't we?
And you know what they say about big feet?
Really small hands.
Big socks. Small hands. I've probably got the biggest hands known to man. I haven't met another man with hands my size. Look at that.
I mean, I'm not a man.
You're
so
not a
I don't
man,
know
but
this.
if you think you can beat me in hand size, come and try it.
I'm just making my way down to the barn. Theo is starting pointing today, which is really exciting. But before he can start, we've got to move the scaffolding, which I absolutely loathe. I hate moving the scaffolding, but once it's done, he can get pointing, so I better get there.
into the unknown, waving goodbye to our worry.
The first thing I've got to do is get rid of all this old dried up mortar that doesn't look very nice, that was just used to actually stick the stones on top of each other. It's not nice pointing, it's just there to be practical. So all I'm going to do is go with my chisel and just work my way through and create a little bit of a groove so the new mortar can get in there and can get a really nice bed of new mortar that looks lovely and polished. I don't need to dig down too deep. The new pointing can go nicely on top of this stuff. This is a nice bed for it to sit on. It means I use less mortar and it takes less time, but I do need enough that it will stick nicely. If you put in really thin bit of mortar on top, it tends to not want to stay there. Just remove any of the loose mortar that's stuck there. The really dry stuff is just going to fall off. And now I've got a nice area to work for a little bit, and then I can repeat the process as I go along. I'm not going to lie, when you got a beautiful veranda and the sun's shining, it's hard not to just want to sit here with a cold drink, but I've got work to do. It needs to be done, because the reason I'm doing pointing right now, and let me tell you, I'm not going to finish the pointing of the whole stone barn.
Oh, you're not allowed to call it a barn.
House. I'm not going to finish pointing this house in this video. It takes a long time. It's a long, slow process. I'm going to put everything I can in every day to try and get it done before it starts getting too warm. If it gets too warm, then the mortar goes off too quickly and it's not good. So now's kind of like the perfect conditions. You got nice long sunny days, but it's still not too warm to point.
And what's that?
Bought this gun recently. Everyone was telling me get pointing gun, get a mortar gun, so I got one. I haven't tried it out yet. I'm gonna try it out, but I'm not gonna need it straight away, and I'll show you why.
That's what you think, but you don't know. You might try it and be like, this thing is just...
From previous experience, I think that I'm not going to need it for a few days, but let me show you why. So generally with pointing, you start from the top and work your way to the bottom, and where this mortar gun's going to come in really useful, I think, is lower down. Where we've added the new stone on top of the gable to increase the height of the house, it's already got some mortar between it, so there's not a huge amount of space in between the stones to actually point, so that's going to be quite quick and easy. There's already there, but lower down you can see there's massive holes.
Absolutely gappy.
Like, it's really gappy. Some of the holes you can see all the way through the wall.
Yeah, like that one. That's massive.
And the walls are 1/2 metre thick, so you can imagine it's pretty big. And where this is going to come in useful is I can get right in there where I couldn't get with my my trowel. I just couldn't get in there to the back of these stones, but with this I can poke it right in, squirt it in there, and then just finish it nicely afterwards.
Job's a good one. wow, what an improvement to the wall.
Look good.
Yeah, you've done a great job.
When I'm like a foot away from the wall, I can't see anything, and I've not been down for a couple of hours.
You better come down.
Sometimes you just need to step back, because when you're close up, like a foot away from the wall, it's quite hard to see the difference on how it was before. So
Trust me, there's such a vivid difference
I'm gonna
now.
come down now.
It's ridiculous.
Let's have a look. That is a ridiculous change. I cannot believe it. And I've done more than I thought. It's taking forever. I know I said at the start of this video it's not going to be complete in this video, that's for sure, but it's taking a long time, and I'm just getting to the really deep parts where it's not really pointing. It's almost like rebuilding a whole wall.
It's very fiddly, isn't it?
It's going to be worth it though. It looks stunning. I don't know if B can show you a shot now, but it's just framed each stone. It just looks gorgeous.
So you can see here the clear difference between what he's done and what he hasn't done yet. So up here is where it's already been pointed by him, and you can really see the difference that it makes compared to the bottom, which is just very gappy and just really highlights the fact that the wall isn't pointed yet. But Theo's done a fantastic job so far.
I think Fernando wants to play a game, don't you? Do you want to play fetch? Because you are like a dog. Ready? Go! We just had a delivery for something that is happening later on in the week, because it's all go here at the Indie Projects HQ.
Quinta do Pinheiro.
Exactly. We had a literal mountain of coarse sand delivered, because we're going to be doing a cement floor in the barn so that we can lay our wooden floor over the top of it and our insulation. It's going to give us a really good base to work from and something to plaster to. And over here we got like a pallet of cement, so we're ready to go. Just taking a quick break, sitting here on the scaffold. Well, water drips off the scaffold onto my neck, and it actually feels so nice.
I can get you a wet tea towel after this if you want.
It's so warm. The last couple of days it's just been boiling hot, and it's only going to get warmer, and that is why we're doing the pointing now. Boom! And this thing, terrible. If you guys know how to use one of these, let me know, because I've looked at loads of YouTube videos, I've looked at reviews, I've looked at the instructions on how to use it, and the problem is I think you need to use an additive to make it more rubbery and work so it can actually squirt through this thing. I had one quick go on it and it was amazing. Like literally I had probably like 15 seconds before it clogged up, and I made the mix runny, but there's a limit to how runny you can make the mix before it just dribbles all down the wall. So unfortunately this is a no-go, and I'm back to the pointing key and the trowel, old school. We get a lot of people asking us what pointing is, why we're doing it, and basically what we're doing is we're just filling in between the stones full of mortar and then smoothing it all out and making it look really nice. And the kind of look that I'm going for, it separates each individual stone and almost frames it, and then once you've finished, the wall just looks amazing. So much better than just how it is now. All of the mortar has been washed out, and back in the day they would have just used like, you know, I don't know, dirt and a bit of sand, which whatever they could get their hands on basically. And obviously we're more advanced nowadays, so I'm using a lime mortar. Apparently it allows the rocks to breathe. There's different debates whether you use cement, whether you use lime, but we're just using lime. That's what we've used on the whole building, so that's what I know and that's what I'm going with. And it's actually really nice to work with. And you can see that I'm just separating all of, let me just show you because it's easier. So what I do first of all is wet down the area that I'm going to be spreading the mortar, and this allows it to stick better. If you just put it on dry, later on you'll have a problem where it will just dry up and flake off. Then I got my mortar on the trowel, I got my pointing key. This is a super narrow pointing key and I really enjoy using this one. It means that you can get into all the really tight spaces and around each individual stone, so you get that overall really nice look and you're not doing really thick pointing. So I just offer my trowel up to the gap, and I can just push it in like that. And as I'm pushing it in, I'm really going over it and making sure it's really compressed. It's not just sitting on the surface, it's compressed all the way back. And I just keep pushing it in until it's all the way in there. Trying to get as little as possible on the actual stone, because you don't really want to stain the stone. But if you do get some on the stone, it's not a problem, because you can go over with a stiff brush when the whole wall's finished, power wash it, jet wash it. We'll go up with a hose pipe and then just brush away at the stone, and it will get rid of all of the dust. It's quite dusty stuff, and
it's super dusty.
It's super
isn't it?
dusty, so the edges, you might get a little bit of mortar on there. They just flake off because there's hardly anything to it. So I've got a brush here. Literally, see this? You can see it all just brushing off. I can just go around the edges, and that just cleans the stone up a little bit nicer. But I won't do that as I go along. Just do that when it's all complete. And so far I'm really happy with how it's looking. There's loads of techniques to point in. Everyone's got their opinion, everyone's got their different ways. I've never been taught how to do it, so I kind of just made it up how I think, and other ways that I've researched online. And my method is to let it dry out a little bit. So probably do a couple of feet at a time, let it dry out. In the sun today it's really warm, so it dries out pretty quickly. And then I've got 2 different size paintbrushes with some water, and what I do is I just go over it and brush it back. And what this does is it gets into all the little gaps, but also really smooths it out, so you get a beautiful finish.
Okay, I've got some good news and some bad news to share with you, and I'm going to give you the good news first because it'll make you feel really happy and will make you still feel good even when you've heard the bad news, I'm hoping. So the good news is we've got some babies on the way. Yes, Rizzo, one of our 4 hens, has decided she wants to be a mother. She took the opportunity, I think it was over a week ago now, to start sitting on some eggs that were in the nesting box in here. I'll show you her little nest that she's got going on. And we're hoping that within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some chicks rolling around here. It's springtime after all. It was completely an unplanned pregnancy, you know, it was just out of the blue. We're going to become chick parents. This was just not what I had in mind, but I'm actually really excited because chicks are the cutest thing ever. So that's the good news, and I'm going to show you the expectant mother now. So we've actually got 2 hens in here right now. We've got Sandy on the left and Rizzo in the middle, and in no way were these hens' names influenced by the film Grease at all. But as you can see, Rizzo is fully flattened out, keeping her little eggs warm. I've not been doing a really deep clean alongside here because I really don't want to disrupt her and cause her stress, so that's why it's looking a little bit crazy. And I know for a fact that she had 3 eggs to begin with, but someone has clearly been laying eggs in there because she's been rolling them underneath her, because she went out for a run yesterday and there were 6 eggs. So I don't know how many chicks we're going to end up with, but this is the little brood at the moment. And I'm just currently in the process of planning out moving Rizzo because she's going to have little chicks. I'm aware that the nesting box is quite high up. It's a little bit dodgy. I don't want the chicks to fall off and break their legs or something. So I've still got their old coop, and I'm going to turn that into a maternity ward for Rizzo. She can have her own space. None of the other chickens can get involved with it. I don't know whether they're going to attack the chicks. I've got a lot of reading up to do, but I have been talking to my friend Gina from OK Portugal, who has a lot of experience with chicks, so thank you so much, Gina. And she's advised that that would be a good idea, and that's what I'm going to be doing. That is what is on next on the list of expecting chicken motherhood. And now it's time for the bad news. The bad news is that, well, Gingy needs to go back to the vets tonight, and that sucks because she's finished her medication 3 days ago. She had her stitches out, cone off 3 days ago. The wound looks absolutely fantastic. It's healed so nicely. It doesn't look swollen, it doesn't look sore. Everything's great, but she's limping. She's limping still, and she's been limping for 3 days. Being in the van, obviously, she wasn't going outside, so I couldn't tell if she was limping because it's such a small space for her to walk around in. But being outside, I've been able to see that she is limping, which isn't ideal, and it's not going away. So I called the vets and they wanted to see her today. So we're going to take her to the vets tonight. No doubt she's going to be having some more medication, but they also just want to check the wound, check the area really, and see what the hell is going on. Hopefully this is the last time she's going to have to go to the vets, because poor girl, it's not a fun journey, and it's not fun being prodded and poked either. She's still her usual sassy self, rolling around in the sun. Oh, all right, Mary. She loves the sun, don't you? Oh, clean your butt whilst I put the camera on you, lovely. You're going to show them your limp? Yeah. Oh, Gingy. And I've now got about 5 hours before we have to leave and take Gingy to the vet, so I'm going to get back to sanding on the roof, my favourite activity. And actually I want to show you in the beautiful light the amount that's already been done and the difference it's completely made. Just check that out. How good does that look? This is where I've been sanding. As you know, the other day I did all down there, and I've been using a 40 grit to get to the real big ridge beam, but wow, the difference. Look at that, you can really see it. It's crazy. And my plan for once it's sanded is to give it a lovely coat in Danish oil, but we actually had an issue, and I thought I'd been really clever. I ordered the Danish oil from the German Amazon, because anything that you order from the UK now into Europe, you have to pay customs on if it's over a certain amount. And seeing as I can get it from Germany, I may as well get it from there. I didn't look at where it was being shipped from though, and it was in fact being shipped from the UK. So I still had the whole customs debacle, and it ended up costing an extra 25 euros, and it's being held in customs for ages. So hopefully, I ordered it back in February. We should be getting the Danish oil any day now, and I can oil the stuff, I think. I don't know whether to oil as I go or oil in one go. Either way, we've got the oil on its way. About deja vu, we're back at the vets again. I've actually lost count of the amount of times that we've been here now. I know Gingy's at the end of her tether, but fingers crossed today is the last time she has to come. So we got back quite late last night, which is why I'm doing the update now. But it was good news at the vets. They were happy with how Gingy's wound had healed. It looked really good. There was no inflammation, no swelling that they could see, but her limp is obviously an issue. So she's on 6 more days of anti-inflammatories, and hopefully once she's finished that, this leg wound saga will officially be over. What a weirdo. Eating chicken food, come on. Are you admiring your handiwork?
Literally, that's exactly what I'm doing. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes just looking at the wall, and it looks so good. I'm so happy with it. It's kind of crazy that that's 3 full days of work.
It is taking longer than you thought, isn't it?
I knew it was going to take long, but I think the problem is I'm pointing in a slightly different way. I went out on my dirt bike yesterday, and I went around all the different little villages, and I was looking at different pointing that people do, and generally they go really thick, so all the little stones in between the big stones, they just literally get rid of them and put mortar in there. And I'm not gonna lie, I much prefer the way I've done it. It looks much more intricate. You see all the details, and all the little stones are what make.
Are you trying to
the
tell
barn.
me that you've done a better job than the traditional Portuguese people have?
Well, you know, I'm not telling them how to do it, but no, like you do see buildings like similar to what we've got.
You found your style.
But I think it's just a stylistic choice, and I think the reason the mortar's really thick and they just get rid of all the small stones and just mortar over them is because it's a lot quicker. And if you're paying someone to do it, you're not going to want them to spend a month pointing your house, because it's going to take a long time and a lot of money and a lot of effort. So I think it's literally down to cost. I prefer the look of this for sure, and as I said, I'm so happy with it. It's really like just brought the barn alive, like the stones just pop, and it just looks really cool, and I can't wait to finish it.
So as Theo mentioned, these kind of stones here would be removed and these gaps just filled in with mortar, which means it's quite thick, and you can definitely see the differences between the big stones. But as Theo's been doing, he's been going around all of the really lovely little stones, which really adds a lot to the wall.
Can you guys hear the cuckoo? I love springtime. All the birds are coming back. It's just wonderful. All the flowers are popping out. But check out my wall. So you can see at the top there, that's been pointed, and down here hasn't. And probably about the height I can stretch, I've done too. So I've got quite a bit more to do. I reckon another 3 days and I'll have this wall completely finished. And then I can move on to the back wall and really start to make the outside look like a finished product. I thought I'd just update you guys on this device. It didn't end well in the end, and I didn't end up using it. So I gave up using it in the end because it really didn't function well. And after digging through many websites and forums, quite a lot of people said, do not use lime mortar in one of these guns, and I can see why. It just doesn't work, and I don't want to add any additives into the lime. I want it to be natural. I want it to stay as it is, and to be honest, I'm getting on fine with the trowel and the pointing key. It's not a problem, but it was a little bit disappointing because it cost like 50 euros, so it's a bit of a waste. Maybe I can use it for something else down the line. I'll keep it in my workshop and just wait for a time where it may come in handy, but for now I'll just continue with the old school method.
And that's that for today's video. It's been great, and next week is not next week, the next video, because we are doing 2 a week now. Don't forget that. I hope you've been enjoying them, but on our next video we are incredibly excited for what we've got planned. We've been waiting a long time for this, and it's going to be amazing. So make sure you tune in, and we'll see you then.